Well, it's days like this when you watch the news and you see the back and forth bickering going on and just reinforce why the two-party system sucks. And from my perspective, we need a Labor Party. We really do. We need a Labor Party. I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. But let me tell you this: Nancy Pelosi is a lousy negotiator, and she's even a lousy partisan hack. I mean, prior to the election, there was an economic stimulus bill worth over $2 trillion. It was supposedly a half a loaf, according to Nancy Pelosi, and and she claims that it wasn't enough. But really, the truth of the matter is that that it did contain $1,200 for every person in this country, a stimulus check. Now, personally, I think that's not enough myself. I wish we would have a UBI. But realistically, a $1,200 check every once in a while is probably the most feasible thing that we could get. That's what I'm sort of thinking myself. But she saw that $1,200 check and thinking, oh my, if this bill passed and that $1,200 check start coming out to the people, it will have Donald Trump's signature on the check. So in her mind, having Donald Trump's signature on the check would mean that that will increase his chance of being reelected. So it was just kind of like, oh, we just can't do that. That's what it came down to. And and the thing about it is, I don't give a flying fuck whose signature is on the check. I'll put it this way: in 2008, we had a tax rebate. Yeah, I mean, anybody, I don't know if y'all remember that. We had a tax rebate. And it was basically the Democrats and Republicans in Congress got together and decided, and this is because of the housing bubble and all that, that they decided to go and try to bribe the American people. So a lot of us got about $600 back. And in a way, even though the Democrats and Republicans kind of worked together, I don't know how many of which party voted for and against or what have you. But the thing about it is that it was pretty much a re-election for me for Congress act as far as I was concerned. Oh, it was nice to get the $600. Gas prices was getting close to $4 a gallon back then. So it was kind of nice knowing that you will have a temporary little positive economic bump coping with gas prices. And for me back then, I was driving about 80 miles round trip each day, about 40 miles each way to work. So and when you have to pay you're paying $3.85 and $3.90 for a gallon of gas. That makes a difference. Well, point I'm trying to make is it was a one-time thing. You know, the $1,200 I got earlier this year, I appreciated it. I had no problem with it. I just wish it could have been permanent for everybody, especially when you have people being laid off from work and people just trying to make ends meet. You need a UBI, but unfortunately, what we're going to get is basically occasionally, and I'm being a little. This is even that's even too much of wishful thinking. The best we can do would probably be an occasional stimulus paycheck, supposedly. But she looked at it as a way of helping Trump, which means that makes her a shitty person. Not because she wants to get rid of Trump, but because all she could think of is short term political partisan advantage. She's a victim of the two party system, and they all kind of do that. But now the election is over. and there's a new stimulus package, $908 billion. It basically a half a loaf of the original half a loaf that she was so concerned about. And during a press conference, ooh, she got snippy with a reporter who observed that the stimulus package that's being presented is much smaller. And she went on about, well, it's because Biden is now the president and we got a vaccine. You know, who cares if Biden is the president? That doesn't alter the fact that people need a paycheck now. Vaccines, great. I'm glad there's a vaccine out there. I hope it's going to do its thing. I hope that we're going to get COVID under control. Still doesn't alter the fact that people need a paycheck. But the problem with this damn new stimulus package, too much corporate welfare, too much corporate welfare, liability shields, basically having it so that people can't have lawsuits to protect corporations from, if they're putting their employees in danger of getting COVID, it will prevent those employees from suing the companies. That right there is a good enough reason to vote against it. But the best reason to reject this piece of shit new package is that there is no liability check. I mean, there's no stimulus check, and the unemployment is cut in half. Instead of $600, you're going to get $300. No to this check to this thing. But you know what? Here's the thing. In her mindset, she's thinking, well, I own Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi's a hot mess. And she's a shitty negotiator, and she's a shitty partisan hack. She is ineffectual, and she's a pretend progressive. I mean, the only people she's pleasing are the diehards, the wine moms, the people who wants to go to brunch now since the partisan cheerleaders, when she went and ripped up the speech, they were thinking, oh, she owned him. Or when she did that little side clapping, that sarcastic clapping, they're impressed with that. The speech that she ripped up, you know what? I would have rather seen her ripped up the military budget that she and Schumer gave to Trump, which was more than what he freaking asked for. Voting for his legislative agenda. My goodness. Phil Oakes had something to say when he was talking about the song Love Me, I'm a Liberal back in the 1960s. She's not an effective partisan. She's bad at her job. Nancy Pelosi, you need to go back to San Francisco to your big mansion and stuff your face with expensive chocolates from your fucking $12,000 refrigerator that you had behind you while people were actually suffering. You elitist cunt. I mean, she needs to go. She needs to go. And I'm telling you, the Democrats are going to lose because of people like Nancy Pelosi. They're going to lose because when she loses, there will be a time when the Democrats are going to come back because the Republican Party is fucking worse at the end of the day. Don't want to make it sound like I hate Democrats because I'm somehow pro-Republican. I'm the furthest thing from. I want Democrats to act like what people think a Democrat should be. Nancy Pelosi doesn't need to be Speaker of the House anymore. I would love to see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez replace Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. I don't know anybody who else ever said it, but I'll say it. we need Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as Speaker of the House. Nancy Pelosi needs to fucking go. I mean, when this, you need to call your members of Congress, tell them vote no on this. You need to call your senators. You need to tell them to vote no. Bernie Sanders said he's going to vote no on this bill. And you need to go back to the drawing board and come up with, at the very least, a pre-election stimulus. Ideally, I want to say UBI. I want to say UBI, but we have to deal with realism. You know, we have to deal with realism here, and that means that baby steps. I hate it as much as I hate incrementalism. We're pushing a corner to do some incrementalism. Go with the original bill, with the $1,200 stimulus. It apparently would pass in the U.S. House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi, here's your chance to be an effective partisan, because going back to the drawing board to come out with a better bill, and then having it pass in the U.S. House, to have it put at Mitch McConnell, you know, assuming that he's going to be continue to be the majority leader, you can make that Kentucky hick look like a piece of shit that he is. You can make him look like the asshole he is. But the truth be told, there ain't really that much difference between Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi. The difference is, and as much as it pains me to say this, is love him or hate him. I hate him. Mitch McConnell is smarter than she is. That's what it comes down to. People are suffering. She don't give a shit. All she gives a shit about is scoring political points. Rah, rah, rah. The blue team won this round. Red team, nah, boo boo on you. What a piece of shit she is. This is the kind of thing that just makes me angry in the political discourse of this country. I mean, the rest of the world, especially the advanced democracies, our friends, even countries who are not necessarily friendly to us, they get it. They were smart enough to have a universal healthcare system to begin with in their countries. When people were laid off work, they found a way to give their people a UBI, or if they were laid off, to have it so that their salaries are fully funded, or even partly funded, like at 70 or 80% of their salary, or what have you. But here, ordinary people get fucked every direction. No health care. You get COVID, and you don't have health insurance. And sometimes the health insurance will fuck you over. If they, with this crisis, to not even have Medicare for all as a serious discussion is revolt. It's a crime. The other countries handle it better. Australia is almost back to normal. New Zealand is almost back to normal. Even a country that might be perceived as third world, and they're kind of advancing away. Taiwan is almost back to normal. The United States, we're ass backwards, as usual, about shit. Nancy Pelosi needs to go. She needs to go. Bye, Nancy Pelosi. Nobody wants you. We need Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as our next Speaker of the House. Pure and simple. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you were triggered and bothered, well, tough for you. Get over it. Comment if you like. Share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you that if you're passionate about something and you have a platform, utilize it. If you're passionate about something, you don't have a platform, develop such a platform. Utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button. Help make this channel grow. And until next time, I am American Social Democracy. Peace, and Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024.